All right. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Forgive me if I seem a little scatterbrained. I need to go turn the lights on. This is my second recording of this video because I messed up very early on in the recording process for this video. Didn't notice, and every time I paused it, I was actually unpausing it. Every time I unpaused it, I was actually pausing it. So it's nothing but silence while I do stuff and work things on my calculator with no explanation at all. So I'm going to go back through this. So today we are moving on to identifying which kind of problem they are. So this video is going to go through the process of identifying which kind of problem you have to calculate. So you have to figure out, is it a red problem or is it a blue problem? Do I need to use a velocity equation or an acceleration equation? I'm going to point out a couple of things to help you with that process. I am not going to work these problems out because it is 6:45 and I just don't have enough time until school starts to actually do that whole thing. So I have the answers from my previous video, so I will put those up on the TV when I'm done so you can see what the answers are if you want to work those on your own. Apologies. So the first step when you have to identify a problem is exactly the same as the first step when you're trying to solve it. So that's easy. That doesn't change anything. That's nice. Go through and identify your values. So I am traveling steadily at 1.3 meters per second. That is a value. Hey, my pen's not on because it's just going to be that kind of day. All right. At 1.30 meters per second, I do so for 1.25 minutes. How many feet do I go? So we need to figure out what kind of problem this is. Well, what are these three things? Well, meters per second, that's distance over time, so this has to be a v. Minutes is just time, so that has to be a t. And then this is feet, which is a distance, so this has to be an s. So there are two things that we can look at to really tip us off here. First off, there's only three things. There's two numbers and a question. Okay? The acceleration equation has four values in it, so we have to have three numbers and a question. In the velocity equation, the red equation, we only have three values, v, t, and s. So if we only have three values, 2 and the question, this is probably a velocity calculation or a velocity equation rather than an acceleration equation. The other good tip-off is that there's an s. There ain't no s in the blue equation. Likewise, there's no a in the red equation. If we have an a or are being asked for it, then it's probably an acceleration problem. If we have an s or we're being asked to find it, it's probably a velocity problem. So there's two ways that you can tell the difference. Pretty straightforward. Only three things, probably velocity. You have an s, probably velocity. If you have four things, probably acceleration. If you have an acceleration in the problem, it's probably an acceleration problem. Okay, so that's that one. Now let's do F here. Actually, I'm going to pause this, scroll down, and I can put all three of the other questions on the board at the same time. Pause. All right, so going through practice F, I pause this and identify the values in F and figure out which kind of problem this is, and then I'll go through it. All right, time's up. I'm going to do this now. So I slow from 55 miles per hour. My pen is off again. How about that? Slow from 55 miles per hour to 27.5 miles per hour with an acceleration of negative 13,790. How many seconds did it take? Well, we have miles per hour, distance over time, that has to be a v. Miles per hour, distance over time, that's another v. Acceleration, this says it's acceleration, also says that there's a squared right here, so this has to be a. And then how many seconds? That's t with a question mark. So this has to be an acceleration problem. Because for one, we have four things, and for two, we have an acceleration, so it can't be a velocity problem. Which begs the question, which one's which? I go from this to that, so this is initial, this is final. All right, so now go through, identify the variables, and figure out which is which for the last two problems, and then I will do the same and go through them. So I'm off screen. Last chance to pause. All right, let's go through this. Okay, I am traveling at 17.97 feet per second, so that's our first value after slowing from 38.2 feet per second. Another value, if it took me 3.86 seconds, what was my acceleration? Okay, well, acceleration, question mark. This right here tells us this has to be an acceleration equation, because we have acceleration. We also have four things underlined, so acceleration equation. This is obviously t. Then we have two velocities, distance over time, feet per second. But this one's a little weirdly worded. I'm traveling at this after slowing from that. So I am now doing this, but I was doing that. So this came earlier in time. So this is VI, and this is VF. Down on the last one, what was my velocity? So we're being asked to find a V. If it took me 1.27 hours, that is a T. This is a question mark, by the way. And to go 78.5 miles, that is an S. The fact there's an S, this has to be a velocity problem. Also, again, three values, not four. So the order on this, E is a velocity problem, F and G are both acceleration, and H is going to be velocity. So I am going to pause this, write down what the answers are for these four questions, and then you can work them if you wish to check and see if you did them correctly. So I'm going to pause this and make sure I pause it properly. Okay, so these are the four answers in case you can't read it. E is 320 feet. F is, or for F, T is going to be 7.18 seconds. On G, the acceleration is negative 5.28 miles per hour squared. And V for number H, whatever, is 61.8 miles per hour. Couple things I want to mention. On E, you have to do a conversion for the velocity. Don't forget to do that. That comes out to be 256 feet per minute. And on F, the answer that you initially get out of the equation is going to be in hours. It has to be converted to seconds. And these two are both straight plug and chug, so they should be easy. That is it for this video. You should have a worksheet to go along with this, which has 8 more practice problems where you can first figure out what the difference is between them, because they are a mix of acceleration equation and velocity equation. And then after that, you can solve them as well to get a little bit more practice. That is it for this video. Have a wonderful whatever it happens to be for you, and I will see you next time.